Fabulous. Thank you. I think I am. Is the other? Yeah. Okay. No. I have to move up because the microphone is interfering with the microphone. So we'll just. Can you hear me now? You can hear me now. Welcome. Welcome to this place. Welcome to this space where all sizes, all statures, all genders, all religions or none, all people are welcome. I don't have that down as well as Chris does. But this is a place where we know we can come and we can feel that welcome. We can be inspired by the love, the compassion, and the hope that is generated within this space. Matthew is going to, there. He was playing on the floor.
There we go. The mics are different. They've been up here last time. Good morning, beloved SSUC, online and in person. My name is Matthew, and I'm your gathering companion for today. As we gather in the sacred space, let us pause and reflect on the light that illuminates our hearts and souls. Today, we kindle this candle as a symbol of hope, love, and unity. May its flame guide us on our journey together, illuminating the path of faith, compassion, and understanding. May our time together be filled with warmth, inspiration, and profound connection.
Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Love's the still point of the circle, round whom all creation turns. Nothing lost but held forever. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Let our hearts touch far horizons, so encompass great and small. Let our loving know no borders, faithful to life's call. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let the sun rise through. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the
We've got a time for all ages. We welcome small or large to come forth onto the carpet. Okay, look at that. Squishy. Yes?
Dirty or not?
It doesn't look dirty to me. Okay. This is a story that is very special to me. It is written by Angela May George, and the pictures are by Owen Swan. It's called Out. And in it, there is an amazing little bit of hope running through the whole story. There's also something else you'll notice on every page. At the end of the book, you can tell me what you see on every page. Out. Now, the story is told from the point of view of this young girl. She says, I feel different. It's the way that everybody stares at me. I am called an asylum seeker. That's a refugee. But that is not my name. I have seen horrible things, and they've shown me what it is to be brave. Being brave is waiting and believing that everything will be okay. I camped with my mother when we hid from the men with the guns. We wrapped ourselves in the dark, dusty blankets. The night was filled with noises, and I listened for the river, because the river knew the way out of the forest. We came here on a boat. It took a very long time. And sometimes I wondered if I would ever walk on the grass again. We were surrounded by water, but it was too salty to drink. And so we drank the rain from the rain barrels. It was captured by large barrels on the top of the boat. Hello, you want to come see the book? That's a good idea. Yeah. On days when our tummies rumbled, we talked about our favorite foods. My mother learned how to fish with just a line and a hook. Here's the line and the hook. At night, my mother sang to me, and she played with my hair. And in the daytime, she told me stories about home. Now that we're here, life on the boat seems long ago. And now I run to win races. And these days, we camp for fun. But some days, when I hear a loud bang, I drop to the floor. We are lucky, my mom says, because Mom has a job now, and we have a safe place to live. My mom is strong, and she protects me, but I wish my dad was here to protect her. I miss my dad very much. My mom and I try to imagine where he might be right now. Maybe he's still in the refugee camp, but my dad is fast, like me, and that's how I know he is safe. At school, we dance. The music is not like the music where I come from. But when I close my eyes, I can almost hear my dad clapping and singing right beside me, almost as if he was right here with me. We live with Saria. She is someone we met on the boat. She has sparkling eyes, and she makes me giggle. and she and I both help Mum with her English. Saria has bought a car. We will explore this beautiful country together, Mum says. When we drive to the beach, it reminds me of the boat. And, hello? Now, when I smell that salty air, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel safe. It makes me feel free. This morning, I found my mother laughing and dancing and crying all at one time. I asked her why she was so happy, and she smiled and said, "You'll see." So the little girl went to the door of her bedroom. And there was her dad. Did you see what the artist, Owen Swan, did to show you that little bit of hope in each of the pictures? What did you notice that was in each picture? Yeah. She was sad in some pictures, yeah. Many of the pictures. Yeah.
She was emotional.
She was emotional.
Every page, on every page, like she feels happy about that thing or that person.
Sometimes. Yeah.
There's a yellow thread.
There's a yellow thread. Yeah. Did you notice that yellow thread? You've got beautiful emotions shown in these pictures.
Oh, yellow thread on every page.
Yeah. There's that little bit of hope that Owen put into a yellow thread. Can you think of the yellow threads in your life that make you hope and make you feel good? Do you have anything that you really like? Singing.
Makes me feel as free as a bird.
Ah,
Reading.
singing makes you feel as free as a bird.
Reading and things that are just games sometimes, like chess.
Okay. Reading and game and chess. Learning. Yeah, that gives you some hope and freedom. Yes. Friend. Yeah. And what else?
It makes me feel free and can help like it's lessons. As I'm thinking of summer, there's like
Oh, wow. Horses are pretty special, aren't they? Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing my book with me. Thank you for listening to our book. I'm going to invite you to go with Daisy and Ariane for the Kids Spirit, although might be a little young. Okay. Now. To the next, no, right, it's right after the next one, sorry.
Took a walk outside of Milwaukee. a sound outside of my listening, felt the living hum of the ground, waited on the voice of the Spirit, singing with its new old sound.
How then shall I live?
How shall I live?
How then shall I live?
How shall I live? How then shall I live this life? How then shall I live? Saw the world outside of my looking, gazed upon the eyes of its soul, held the hopes and fears of tomorrow, found the pieces making the whole. How then shall I live? How shall I live? How then shall I live? How shall I live? How then shall I live this life? How then shall I live? Took a step outside of my walking, found within a beat that we shared, walked with you in length of this lifetime, and made a life of living whole. How then shall I live? How shall I live?
How then shall I live?
How shall I live?
How then shall I
Live this life. How then shall I live?
So much happening in this building, in this community that extends beyond the building. And there are a couple of things. There's that Tuesday connection that happens here in the small hall every Tuesday. There's the men's group that happens at Bogami. There's the knitting and crocheting group on Mondays. It's a beautiful space to build our community. Thursday evenings. So we've got, on the next slide, I think it is, there's the, there we go. And then so if you are looking for one more way to help the Palestinian process that's going on right now, we can just walk to the back of the entrance hall and get your products. There are, is anyone, no, so I can tell you that the trans family gathering will be April 17th, Wednesday evening. Oh, it's changed. May 1st. See, I have to come here to find out all these things. Life. And after church today, of course, there is the potluck. You are most welcome to stay. I know I brought enough for lots of extra people if you didn't. So.
I have to speak loudly too? Okay, I'm just here to extend an invitation that I extended a few weeks ago. Some invitations have gone out. We just want to remind you about the newcomers lunch on April 27th. Now, some of you have, okay, that's it. But I'm just here to sort of run it. We want people to RSVP, so if you received an invitation, answer it so we know how much food to get. Also, there's a sign-up sheet in the hall and in the foyer. If they don't have your email and don't have a way of getting a hold of you, just sign up there so we know you're coming and we'll feed you. Okay? We're good at that around here. That button. It's green now.
All right, so just in case anybody missed, it was semi-formally announced by Ruth just a moment ago, but I have been asked to notify everybody that the Trans Family Mixer will be on May 1st at 4 p.m. as the windows in the foyer are being replaced on the 17th. So if anybody shows up on the 17th, there will be nothing happening except construction. which I'm sure everybody wants to watch. Yes, May 1st at 4 p.m.
Hello, my name is Joan, and I have volunteered to coordinate the garage sale this year. Well, thank you. That's never happened before. This year's a bit of a pilot project to try out some new ideas, and I know I have a really hard act to follow, so please be patient with me. Part of the rebrand is a new name, Thrifty Treasures Market and Bake Sale. And the majority of our changes have actually come from the recommendations of the past committee for the last few years. So as we pilot this new model, we may not make as much money this year, but we have some broader goals in reducing our environmental footprint, reducing the number of volunteer hours, and hopefully maybe reducing a bit of the stress, to build and support community, have fun, and of course make some money. I just want to thank everyone who's signed up on the volunteer list. We still do require more volunteers, and you can sign up on the website, or I think there's a sheet outside of the baby fold. And you will notice the volunteer positions look a little different this year as we move to our new model. And the items that we're collecting are a little bit different as well. So there is, I think, some information out in the foyer today. If it's not there, it'll be there next week. And also on the website, all of this will be posted. If you have any questions, my email will be on all of that information. Feel free to email me. Thank you. July 6th? Yeah.
Okay. The slide has been missed. That's my fault completely. Ruth, can you come and do the land acknowledgement, because I've missed it. It feels much better when we've had it.
Good morning. I'm the other Ruth. As we acknowledge the land today, as we always do at the beginning of every service, we remember the people who lived here before settlers came from Europe. The people who were living here before, the indigenous peoples, were many tribes, but they were welcoming. They welcomed the new people who came to their land. They helped them to find food and shelter and find their way through this new land. My hope is that we all learn in this country that includes our Indigenous brothers and sisters, that we will be welcoming to people who come to our land.
I can do that with this one. I want to add to that the Moving Forward Towards Reconciliation Committee is delighted to tell you that the remit number 1 has passed, and that officially establishes an autonomous United Church or Indigenous organization within the United Church. And so that in the same way the UCW is an organization within the United Church, the Indigenous organization will now be on that level. It's an amazing, exciting new step, new welcoming. So thank you. Thank you for all the work that people did to make that happen. And I have to figure out where we are now. Choir. Oh, this is the best part.
The onus is upon us all to work to improve the human condition. The composite of all efforts. The composite of all our efforts can have an effect. Good done everywhere. Good done everywhere. Good done everywhere. It's good done everywhere. When we unite in purpose, united in purpose, we are greater, 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 greater than the sum of our parts united. When we unite in purpose, united in purpose, we are greater, 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 greater than the sum of our parts united.
While they're running away, I'm Blair, and I was going to speak and say I wanted to make an announcement, but hey, I'll just steal the mic now. There's a board meeting for anybody who's interested, and no, I'm sure it won't be boring, Tuesday night at 6:30 downstairs. You're allowed to come, just show up. You just can't vote. It will be an exciting time. And I'm sure, you know, if you really wanted to, you could bring snacks or whatever. We'll have a good time.
I think Blair and I have different definitions of a good time, but I'm sure it would be great. I'm sure it's fine. I have 3 readings for you today for our wisdom readings, and you will hear echoes of Joanne Van Beek's words from last week in them. Optimism, everything will be all right, doesn't demand anything of us, but hope entails effort as we endeavor to actualize that for which we hope. Hope means work. These are the words from modern theologian and activist Leroy Seat. Hope locates itself in the premises that we don't know what will happen, and that in the spaciousness of uncertainty is room to act. When you recognize uncertainty, you recognize that you may be able to influence the outcomes. You alone, or you in concert with a few dozen or several million others. Hope is an embrace of the unknown and I think that's a typo. It is the belief that we do matters, even though how and when it may matter, who and what it may impact, are not things we can know beforehand. We may not, in fact, know them afterwards either. But they matter all the same. And history is full of people whose influence was most powerful after they were gone. These are words of wisdom from writer, historian, and activist Rebecca Solnit. May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. These are words of wisdom from advocate of peace, reconciliation, and social justice, former President of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. A smile. That is enough to build connections with supporting refugees joining our community. I have the privilege of being a teacher to 2 young men from Ukraine. When I heard about the topic of our service today, I thought I would ask them about their experiences in Canada. Specifically, what small things have people done to make an impact in their lives? A smile. That is it. Just to see that they belong in other people's faces. At first, I was a bit perplexed, and I repeated it back to them. A smile, I asked. Perhaps they didn't understand what I was talking about, language barrier and all. So we chatted only briefly more, and I asked them to think about it, and we'll chat again tomorrow or another day. Now, you must know that these boys they're full of energy. The next day, bursting through the door, one of them yells at me, "A smile, Mr. Billick." Clearly, it was me who was misunderstanding. They proceeded to tell me that they've never been a part of a community, school or not, where just in passing, they felt like they were part of a community, just by seeing other people's facial expressions. And it meant the world to them. Yes, they said they acknowledged that people helped them with clothing, with housing, food, and countless other things. But the simplest thing they appreciated was a smile.
A smile. So last week we heard a little bit about hope from Joanne Van Beek and Matthew's wisdom, the scholars and the activists and the kids. Hope is the foundation of refugee work. And there is so much need in the world. It is very simple to close our eyes, plug our ears, and say, I can't take all that in. Or we can hope. Chris New told me last week that hope is in the DNA of SSUC. But even more, refugee work is in the DNA of this community. But how do you hope in all this pain? What do? May Kellerman reminded me of the story of that starfish on the beach. The boy was walking through the sand of the beach, and he saw 1,000 starfish trapped above the high water line. And he began throwing starfish back into the water. Somebody said, you throw a couple of dozen back in, what difference does it make? There's thousands. Well, to the starfish that re-entered the water, it made a profound difference, that simple act. So who is facilitating the hope within refugee work here in Canada? Well, the United Church. The United Church has all kinds of programs. The next slide shows a few of them. There's the Moroccan food baskets, the number of kindergartens that are in refugee camps around the world. The United Church, in its wisdom and its hope, recognized we as an organization do not have the resources to save the world. But with partners, we can extend what resources we have and reach into those kindergartens, into those food programs. And here in Canada, working with congregations, we can support the settlement of refugees here. It's a beginning. And it extends and reaches out. And as we know here at SSUC, you help one small family, and they reach out and help another. And it grows. But hope is rolling up your sleeves and doing something. The United Church is working with the Mennonite Refugee Committee, with the various settlement organizations run by the Catholic, by the Anglican, by the Jewish, and it goes on, organizations. There is also an organization, non-governmental, non-profit, charitable donation thing called the Canada Council for Refugees. And they oversee a lot of this work. They develop policy, they petition the government. They are the ones that give people ideas of how to try something new and innovative. And so there's overarching organizations. There's the Canadian government, Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada, and IRCC is so much easier. But there are individuals, and it is still one starfish at a time. Let me tell you the story of one star. I see her as a star. Fatima was not yet 8 years old when her whole world tilted. Her family was jammed into the back of a pickup truck, tarps put over them, and friends said, "Be quiet." Fatima was told to keep her little sisters quiet. 5 little girls, a very pregnant mother and their father, hiding. The truck took them to a safe house, and then some stranger took them to a new safe house, and strangers helped them weave their way across the Eritrean border. And another pickup truck was there, and they hid in the back of that as they crossed into Ethiopia and over to Djibouti. Safe house to safe house, stranger after stranger, providing food and shelter, transportation. Their father did not survive the escape. But a very pregnant mother and 5 little girls found themselves at the edge, that gate of the Asaida refugee camp. There was a long, grueling intake interview in which little Fatima was supposed to keep her sisters busy, quiet. The family was given a plastic tent, an empty jerry can, and a very small sack of flour. They left the interview, and friendly voices who spoke their language told them to come. Over here was where the widows and children who spoke Afar were all putting up tents. They joined that tight circle. Her mother gave birth within days. And the widows, the mothers, never left that circle, almost never. But 8-year-old girls are curious. And Fatima was happy to take the jerry can and go for water in that long lineup. She was happy to take the small sack and line up for flour. She noticed that there were women who came and went as they pleased. These women were nurses, and Fatima hoped that one day she would be a nurse. Now, her 8 years had taught her one thing. There was always cleaning to do. And so Fatima would find herself in the vicinity of those tents that were the clinic, and she would quietly begin cleaning. The nurses smiled at her. Fatima attended school the 2 hours in the morning whenever there was a teacher, because nurses had to read and write. And it was way more fun to be with your friends, even with a strict teacher, than to be in that small circle in the midst of this huge refugee camp. At 12, the nurses considered Fatima a volunteer. She was cleaning or helping with those lined up to meet the medical officials. At 16, they were showing her pictures in their medical books, and she was trying to learn more about biology. It was more than 10 years after the family had walked through the gates of the Asaida refugee camp when Fatima's friends came dancing towards her, squealing, "Your mother's name is on the bulletin board. Her number's there." And everybody knew what that meant. It was their family's turn for resettlement. They had 36 hours to get to the airport. And how does a family of 8 in a refugee camp cross the desert to an airport? Easy. Somebody knew somebody who had a cousin whose brother-in-law knew somebody who had a truck. And that truck got them to the airport on time. They had no idea what was happening when they left on a warm 34-degree day. The plane flew out of Ethiopia and landed in Canada on January 23rd, minus 32. Now, I have a friend who says that all immigrants, refugees, should be asked to enter Canada on January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and if they still want to stay in March, they should be given automatic citizenship, but that does not happen. It was a bit of a culture shock, definitely a clothing shock. She was greeted by the sponsors who gave her Michelin blimp kind of clothing. The family looked at it and didn't really want it, especially those huge things to put on their feet. The door of the airport opened, the wind swept in, they raced back to the bin and were dressed in seconds. That first week, through a translator, Fatima explained to her sponsors that she would hope to be a nurse. The sponsors thought university. Fatima said language classes. A very reasonable, feet on the ground person. She'd studied those language classes in the local adult high school. And several months later, when she could put 3-word sentences together, 4-word sentences, she asked her supervisor to walk with her down the street. She had seen that seniors' home. There were nurses who came and went. Maybe she could volunteer there. She could clean their floors. It took a little more than just that. The sponsors and Fatima attended a first aid class together, and then a food handling safety course. And with 2 things on her resume, she struck out to volunteer. And then one of her sponsors came up with an idea. Now, those of you who know Dean will recognize his creativity. He suggested that the sponsors would pay half of any salary that a local business would offer so that these young women, there were 6 sisters, remember, could get work experience. And Fatima walked up and down the street with her sponsor with this offer and her resume. One of those innovative businesses said, sure. It was a bakery, a gluten-free bakery. Fatima was welcomed in to clean. Dishes, floors, shelves. And then she took on the job of prep. And the business said, we'll keep her, full salary. We've got it. Fatima moved from prep person to baker to 3 years later, shift supervisor. And all this time, she was at the adult high school taking science courses. Then she said she was ready for college. She had the income, she had the language, but she couldn't go straight into nursing. That was too much. She didn't know these medical terms. She wasn't familiar with the culture. She needed a course that would teach her how to clean medical things. There is a course. Sterilization of medical instruments. She took it. And then she took the course that made her a technician, how to lay those instruments out in an operating room or whatever clinic. That done. She said thank you to her nursing colleague, or to her bakery colleagues, and started work. She is amazing with an autoclave. And she started studying at the college level to be a nurse. Fatima has been a nurse in a small local hospital for 18 months. And she has now started studying for her RN. Fatima's hope to be a nurse has become our hope that we will have future excellent nurses in Canada. One starfish at a time. Expanding. Fatima tells me she didn't do it by herself. There were truck drivers, there were homes, there was food, there was support, there were colleagues. Fatima talked of the smiles that Matthew was telling us about. Now, we can do small things. A smile, you recognize an accent, and you nod, encouragement. You can do middle-sized things. Invite a new Canadian for coffee, to go to an art show with you, invite your kids and their kids to play at a playground at the same time. You can do large things. Work with a small group to bring a family in, sponsorship. But whatever you do, small or large, it makes a difference. And that's what hope is about.
please join me as we strengthen our intentions as a community. We go from this place of welcome and encouragement, knowing that what we do matters. We cannot know beforehand how and when our actions and attitude may matter, nor who and what we may impact. We may not, in fact, know their impact afterwards either. But what we do matters all the same. We know that we each have something to offer our world, be it a smile or an action. We go out into the world to make a difference. May it be so.
We change the light. We go out into the world with new thoughts, new opportunities, and new hope. Thank you.